Hey everybody, it's Alex from Heavy New York. We are at the Henry Hotel in Flatiron today, and we got an awesome guest. We are here with Tarja. Thank you so much for your time.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Yeah, you did a phenomenal performance last night. What a great way to celebrate the release of Act 2, your newest live record.
Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Great crowd last night. Great atmosphere in the show. I was very pleased. Very happy.
Yeah, I've never seen a line around that venue so long before. It was crazy.
They were pouring water. Poor people. They were.
Well, they just started doing construction, so you have like the scaffolding there. So it actually you came at the right rainy day.
Good.
Yeah.
In that sense, good. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's great to talk to you. I really wanted to talk a lot about a lot of people. You are one of the first artists that comes to people's minds when it comes to like a symphonic metal style with everything you've done. I was always curious, as a lot of people know, you're very classically trained with theatrical voice and opera and everything like that. I was always curious, did metal kind of come secondary as a vocalist to you, or were you always inspired by metal and just trying to combine?
No, actually, I never thought of becoming a metal singer.
Really?
To be honest. Yeah. I'm talking to you like after all these years, after celebrating my 22 years in, as I said yesterday night also for the audience, 22 years in this beautiful business. But the beginning of it all was it was a surprise for me to become who I am today, obviously, but to become a metal singer it became like nice little surprise behind the door. You know, I was studying to become a lyrical singer. I was in a university just in the beginning of my musical studies, kind of, even though I have been studying music since I was 6, but at the time being 18 years old girl in a university and had an opportunity to sing on a demo. That was the first demo of Nightwish, which had nothing to do actually with metal. It was an acoustic demo with acoustic guitars, keyboards, voice. Little bit of drumming, like a little acoustic.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Because the guys, behind the music, they knew me. We were all born in the same little village, so everybody kind of knew that I was the girl that sings. But they hadn't heard me singing the classical, with the lyrical voice at all, since I moved away from the place from long ago. And so I went to studio, sang that demo, and they were like, "Why is she singing like that? Like, oh, where that comes from, you know?" And there was the idea born to combine these operatic vocals with heavy metal, because the guys were having the metal background, not me.
Which is incredible that, like, who would have thought that studying, like, classical singing.
Yeah.
But it's funny, did you, like, have to adjust your vocal style at all to accommodate to metal?
It was so difficult. I have to say that, I continued my studies. I finished up my studies. I even moved to Germany to finish the second university studies. I was studying while I was having a success with a metal band touring all around the world. It was very tough, and it took me many years really to feel comfortable in my way of singing, because I could not find, or I was not even seeking somebody to teach me how to sing these songs with the band. I was just taking lyrical singing lessons and finding my own way to sing the songs that you hear on the records and you hear me performing live, my way. So it was only my way. And but the lyrical singing and getting that technique pitch perfect, training hard. I'm still doing that every day. I'm still taking singing lessons.
Wow.
Because it's the only way that I can make progress as a singer and get better in singing rock. Mm-hmm. Because I wouldn't go and seek for a singing teacher for me to do what I do, what I do. I always encourage, though, the other singers, to go and seek for professional, because your own ears are not enough. It has never been enough for me. It's so good to have a professional opinion about your work in general.
Absolutely.
But for me, it was really taking many years to start feeling comfortable on a stage. Nowadays, it's just fun but why? Because I have been always keeping on training in lyrical.
Yeah, well, it's always good, and I'd imagine as you train more, it always opens up your mind to new ideas on how to make music, right?
Yeah, it's excellent. And Nightwish was one of the biggest challenges in the beginning of my career, and I have always always enjoyed the challenges that I'm having, you know, in life. In general, if I feel like there is a challenge, I can go for it. I will definitely go for it with the fully on. And being open-minded, obviously, you know, me being as a lyrical singer in metal world has embraced me. They have embraced me. The people, I've always enjoyed their respect. And so, because I've been always true to them, I've always said, hey, what was metal before? For me, it was Metallica. It was not like I was the girl that listened metal. I was the girl that listened Whitney Houston, and I was the girl that listened, you know, other music styles before I joined a band.
Yeah, well, you know, classical music has always been considered to be heavy metal before electricity.
Yeah, and there is so much in common. And in my life, these two worlds that seem very different for people in general, classical music and rock, they very much live inside of me in a harmony, in a way that I see so much, so much similarities in these worlds.
Yeah, I feel like it was you and who was able to demonstrate the bridge between classical and metal with vocals, maybe Yngwie Malmsteen with classical music and guitar. Yes. It's really, you realize on how similar they are. Like, and I've noticed that whenever I'm talking to my fellow metal peers, they'll listen to bands as heavy as like Cannibal Corpse, but like they are very respectful towards classical music. It seems like that metalheads are just the modern day classical music lovers.
But anyway, hey, come on, the history of music lies in the classical music, and you have just so much to learn if you open up for it and check it out. I mean, wow. You should check out some Sibelius works and you will feel like, whoa, the melancholy involved there is absolutely, is very pure, is very natural, but it's so emotional.
Yeah, Rock Monolith I thought was a good, hell, rock was in his name, so there you go.
Yes.
Now, though you are like known as a metal vocalist, you still, your classical roots obviously were never abandoned, whether it was with Nightwish or your latest studio records, but even in like your winter albums and your classical albums. But depending if you're doing like a more rock driven album or a more classical, you might have answered this already, but are you like in a different mind frame as a vocalist depending on?
Yeah, I am. And technique wise also I am. I'm still using, of course I'm using the knowledge and experience as a lyrical singer when I'm singing rock and I'm recording my albums, but I can have fun with it. My instrument works as I want it to work. I would not I don't want to go and do some growling vocals which I'm not aware of or anything like that, which I cannot. I have a clean voice, pure voice.
Never say never.
Yeah, but you know, it's just the thing. I know my limitations. I know my limits. I can do pretty much, but I also know my limitations and limits. And so in that sense, I can have a lot of fun nowadays because I just, like you saw me doing last night in the show. Yeah,
it was.
I do a lot. So, but that's the fun part. You know, the rock or metal for me today is giving me the freedom to explore myself. It's like an adventure still within my body and my instrument, how it functions. The classical music gives me the control.
That's a good way to put it.
That makes me like, that keeps me the roots going and tells me, girl, you know, get back to the correct track, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a great combination.
Well, I've seen many times, and obviously I won't mention names, but there are times where you could like see a vocalist, they go way too over the top, and they can either blow out their voice or they, they throw their microphone in the audience. And
I threw it to my monitor engineer last night because the first song it didn't work out. I was like, God damn it! Oh.
I was not going to bring that up. You brought it up, but you know what? I give you a lot of. I was very impressed. You know, my favorite when I saw it happened the first time I saw Lacuna Coil, one of my favorite bands. Andreas Mike failed. Christina came to save him, and but I saw you grabbed
the microphone of the bass player. God damn it!
You know what? It happens to the best of us.
Yeah, but that's also, it's a good thing too. You never. These things happen and they need to happen because we're just human beings and we're doing the thing, and I want to make a great show out of every show, and these things are happening. But
To me, it adds like a natural element. I've had times where somebody tripped over the tripod during an interview, and people liked it because it made it natural. It wasn't too, staged and on the spot. So,
Sure.
and the way you picked yourself up after that was just as impressive as the overall performance. So, good job, Les. But
my guys were very happy. They were like, "Oh my god, we are so proud of you." After the show, they were like, "You're such a badass."
hey, listen, it happened to James Hetfield.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But you kind of just brought. So far, this has been going good. You've led one question into another. But like when you're performing these songs live versus in the studio or a vocal booth in a practice space, it obviously the vibe is completely different. You're playing in front of an audience, but obviously you're presenting these songs differently, right? There's no take two like what you would see in a studio or anything like that, right?
No. But what is really fantastic is that when I'm writing a song, I have a certain emotion involved when I'm writing that song and reason to write that song. Okay, the song is written, I take it to the studio and I record that song. I have a different emotion on that particular day when I am recording the song, obviously. It's that maybe 4 or 5 takes, because I'm going to studio fully prepared. I'm not going there to practice the songs. I'm my mind is focused on that song and I deliver the song a day in a song. One song in a day. I cannot sing. I just cannot. When I'm producing my records, I do 1 song a day. That's it. Because my mind is set up for that one song and it has to be perfect. So give it a take, 4 or 5 takes, it's there. If it's not there, it doesn't work. For me, it's like that. I'm singing live. I'm recording my records like with the monitor and the microphone in front of the monitor without headphones.
Wow.
I'm singing live.
That's impressive.
In a live room that sounds not in a dead room. So I'm recording my records actually at home in my living room environment, kind of a studio, but in a living room. And so that's my way to record my records. I have found that way since my first solo album, been working on this because I'm producing my own records. So I really want to feel comfortable when I'm doing my records. And it's everybody needs to find their way, but that's just my way. Okay, going back to that emotion in that song. I recorded that song on that particular day. Then when I get to the live performances and I perform that song, it's every night different. Because the audience is giving you different feedback. Because of the venue is different, it gives you different kind of feeling. Because the band feels different on that day, everybody feels different every day, So the songs, they live their life through different eras, sort of.
Absolutely.
And that's very interesting. So it's never boring.
Absolutely, it keeps it interesting. But you mentioned you practice in like an environment that you're comfortable in, and doing without headphones. That's impressive. Like I've been to many recording sessions. Everybody's wearing headphones.
Yeah, I only do that in a backing vocal, so I do vocal arrangements and choirs and stuff. Then yes.
Yeah, but that has to, by making it so natural in the recording process, definitely helps prepare you for a live performance, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but there is a song like Muse, Supremacy, for example, that I dare to cover in my last record. Supremacy is a very demanding song to sing in a live performance, and I remember struggling with that on a studio already, and I knew it in advance. Okay, this will be a bummer every night when I do that on the song. Last night you didn't hear me, but it's been. But as I said, it's a challenge, and I love challenges. I'm a progressive person, so I want to keep it up.
Absolutely. Now, as a vocalist, because as a singer, you have such an emphasis on melody and technique, but then also there's lyrics in the mix that you have to add. Do you have to hear like background music or a melody in order to come up with a lyrical concept? Or has there ever been a time where like a lyrical concept or an emotion that you were feeling determined the outcome of the whole composition?
When I'm writing my songs, first comes the music to me. It needs to come first. I might have an idea for a song, like a concept for a story that I write music for. But definitely it's the way I write a song. I said to myself, okay, now I want to have a song, progressive song, for example, with different kinds of parts on it, like progressive, surprising thing. Like it never keeps me going. Like for example, I write a song that it never returns to the part that was there already, and I wanna, do that, map it out myself, and only after that I tell a story.
Yeah.
Only after that.
It's interesting, and I feel like your songs are also very open to interpretation. There's different emotions. Every song I've heard from you, whether it's stuff off your self-titled record or Nemo by Nightwish, which is the first time I've heard your voice, like it almost seems like you can feel an essence of power, you could feel an essence of grief, you could feel an essence of sorrow. It's great that you're able to capture many different emotions with your voice.
I need to do that. I have a need for that. I kind of I'm an emotional person, so I'm an emotional singer, an artist. I need to deliver feelings, and I think that my audiences all around the world, they can connect with me because of that fact.
Yeah.
That they hear my heart when I'm singing.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And one thing I was really curious about is because you have a very distinct voice. As I mentioned, I could tell it's you regardless of what I'm listening to in your discography. Now, I think that's really cool that you have a very distinct voice. Some people might think it's somewhat, for lack of better words, could sometimes be a disadvantage because it may make it harder to kind of go outside the box. Has that ever been a challenge for you since your voice is so distinct?
Not that way, but you see me doing covers, you see me doing classical performances, you see me doing songs that hundreds and hundreds of other artists have covered already, done their versions of it. It's always a challenge in that way to put your best out of those songs that are already known for this world. So in that sense, there is always the kind of I need to again find my own way to go through that process. But the challenge is there, and that's a good one.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but problems in that sense, no. The thing is always that that I need to be pitch perfect because I have a clean voice, and I think also I'm a perfectionist, so I always seek for that perfection in my performances when it comes to that, but also in any kind of work that I do, producing my records. I've been pretty productive in these last couple of 10 years past or more, very productive coming up with different kinds of projects and albums, and I work a lot. I'm really working. I'm a hard-working girl. I really do a lot of work, but I'm very, we're very blessed to be able to do that work that I love, so that keeps me going. But the perfection also I've needed to learn to loosen a little bit, to give a break for myself, to forgive for my mistakes. I can't be perfect. Nobody is really perfect in this world.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, with everything that you've done, oh, there comes the tour that they warned me about.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with everything you have done, because you have a very impressive discography and so many albums. Has everything you've ever done, have you always taken a new approach to everything you've ever written? Or at this point in your career, do you have kind of like a template that you always follow when making new music?
There has to be. You know what? I really do hate repeating myself. That's a fact. If I have written a song in my past records, I do not like to write a similar song in my future record. Why? Because that song already exists. Why I should? Obviously, that's a hard task. I'm putting myself on my limits always. But I think that's really needed there. I mean, I have a great creative team of people working with me. They inspire me, these people. I've been very blessed to gather around those guys with me that really understand me, that they go along with me with my crazy mind, They support me in this journey, and I would be nothing without those people, seriously. But to be an independent artist, international artist today, handling all this craziness that is really needed all alone, I feel like completely free, in doing that, because at the end of the day there is no label, there is nobody telling me what I need to do.
Yeah.
It's me doing it. And since the scratch, from the scratch until the product is in your hand, it's me doing it in everything, everything. So
that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, but I cannot go. I cannot go the other way around. I cannot let it go. It's my precious work.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's funny that you mentioned that because your name is on all the records. It's Tarja, not Tarja.
Yeah.
But it's your name on the work, so a lot of people would assume that it's all you. Whatever you say goes. But I'd imagine that every member also brings in contributions that helps, right?
Definitely, my musicians are amazing. The people that are working, the guy that is working on the orchestra arrangements, Jim Dooley from LA. I want to have him there because he's always surprisingly incredibly talented person, and people, they are there for a reason. They are there for a reason. I trust in them. We count on each other. We work together. Teamwork.
Yeah, which is great because sometimes like there is a sense of like. Some people would assume, oh, he's a solo artist, so it's all him and he doesn't give anybody else credit, but it's great to hear.
No, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, which is awesome. And one question I was really curious about asking is we actually just interviewed a band from Finland this past Friday, this band Omnium Gatherum. And I love talking about metal bands from Finland. I interviewed this one band and they told us that per square kilometer in Finland, there's 2 metal bands.
I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess it's like that, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good thing.
Yeah. It's so big that when Obama was president, he had to mention it in his speech.
Yeah.
But I was curious, being a musician from Finland, because, I mean, obviously you're classically trained, so, a lot of people think of Finnish metal. I mean, it's very diverse. You compare Nightwish to Children of Bodom, to Ansaferum, to... him, it's very different. Coming as a classical artist, how different was it? Because a lot of people in Finland kind of have a similar story on how they've gotten involved in a scene. How different was it for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, in general, music is part of our culture. Every kid is playing some sort of instrument in Finland. Like you are born with the violin in the hand, or other kid is born with the flute in the hand, and other is singing. Or music is around. It's a part of our culture. It's easy. You go to any family and their children is playing, they're playing something. So in that sense, being metal or being any other genre of music, it's just very vivid, the whole music culture in Finland. And the education is amazing. And even we have only one academy in Finland, or the university, the Sibelius Academy. Very hard to get into that school, but it's very well respected and in the whole Europe-wise, And so important thing. And obviously I know many metal musicians that have been going to that same academy that I've been. I think the classical music people, the pure classical music students or the professionals in that field are very much similar to the metal ones because we have a lot in common in that sense. We are really practicing and we are really working hard. We have the mind flow into certain way, very similar. So for me, my teachers in the university, they always said to me that, "Yay, rock on, girl." They were always very supportive when I went to my tours. For me, it was hard. Every time I came back, I needed to be well prepared for my studies and continue. But they saw me working hard, so they always respected me. It's just you need to, work double. But I was also always when I said to you earlier that I was very true to this metal world, but as well as to the classical world. I kept it going.
Yeah, and I'd imagine that because you've mentioned you've played live to many different audiences. Yes. One minute you're playing in front of a mosh pit, and then the next minute you're playing in front of a lot of
symphony orchestra, in front of an orchestra, and with a lot of.
Yeah, I saw both last night actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, which was really unique. You don't see that at many death metal shows.
No.
Yeah, and then the final question I wanted to ask you is, thank you so much for your time. Because as somebody who's as experienced in music theory and classical technique as you are, now I've heard many different stories of musicians who are very classically trained as well, but then also some musicians that just kind of picked up a mic or a guitar without having any training at all and have gone into many different careers. Do you think that for a musician who may have not have had this classical background, you know, when I was in art school, there's the term insider artist and outsider artist. I don't know if that is the same for music, but do you think that maybe somebody who didn't have that classical training, they might be missing something that could enhance their art even better?
It can go the other way around as well. It can be blocking your way to get out, or, you know, for example, for me, I can tell you just a story when I started writing my own songs, having had that classical education, you know. It was kind of making me think like a blockhead. Like, this is the way you write the songs and this is the correct way of doing it, because I was learning it in school, you know, kind of. I had to find my way out of that. And by using the knowledge that I got from the school, I needed to throw that box to hell and start from the scratch. But not from the scratch actually, because I had the knowledge already. But find my own way was the whole thing for me, to be able to be progressive, feel free in songwriting.
So it's fair to say metal opened your mind.
Yeah, it can be the opposite way. Like it was for me, it was kind of like, okay, I need to find a new way. But still embracing the knowledge that I have by my, you know, from my studies and all. A person that has never been studying, I think that there is, surely you can be amazing and you can have an amazing success if the clouds are there for you, the stars and everything are there for you. But I think it always would be interesting at least to hear another opinion about things, a professional opinion about things, because I believe at the end of the day your ears might not be enough for everything. You can be your best critic, but maybe sometimes it's good to have somebody to give you an advice, to help you. I've been in a wrong track many times myself, and so I'm seek for help. But obviously my education is, you know, always going and has to go like that. But it goes both ways. It can be whether a blockage or it can be a liberating thing.
Wow, it's funny. Maybe like, if you don't mind me asking, like when you were telling your fellow peers in classical music that you're in a metal band, were you getting like a little bit of like looks?
Oh, probably, but I never got confronted by everybody.
Okay.
Never they told me. Actually, my teachers were, as I said, they were super supportive. The singing teachers, those ladies, I only had female teachers. Those women, they're absolutely important in my life. Every one of them, they've been always there, like cheering me and supporting me, and because they seen how hard I'm working, and they seen that I am very healthy. The way I'm using my voice is a healthy way of using my voice, so I was not there to destroy my voice. No, that was my only consideration for every day in my journey is not to harm my voice, because otherwise I would not be able to live my dream anymore. So that would be.
Yeah. So before we go, again, Tarja, thank you so much for your time. You have Act 2 out, your newest live record, and correct me if I'm wrong, but your latest studio album is Spirits and Ghosts, right?
The Christmas one.
Yeah.
The dark Christmas album.
Yep.
Yeah.
That has been believe me, in New York City when we hear the regular Christmas carols, especially because I live so close to the tree. Believe me, it's a breath of fresh air. I would love to see Santa Claus in corpse paint just one time.
Oh my god, yeah. Well, I did that record actually for the lonely people in Christmas. You know, Christmas is that marketing-wise, the jingle bells and.
Thank you so much.
It's not like that for majority of the people. There are many lonely souls during Christmas, and especially Christmas time is like not seen as the most happiest time of the year for many. So that album hopefully gives a little bit of like a feeling of hope through all the darkness that lies inside of those songs that we all know.
Yep.
Majority, maybe not my own composition still, but majority of the songs on that record, they are well-known songs, but hey, give it a listen. Fa la 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 in a minor key.
I think it was Abbott who covered "All I Want for Christmas Is You" by Mariah Carey. So we have this thing called SantaCon in New York City. Now metalheads are getting together and doing something called SatanCon. So.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Nice. I
But
like that.
can we be expecting any new music coming soon?
Yes, next year. I'm writing songs at the moment for the new record. Actually, I want to hit the studio already in the beginning of next year. So yes, you can expect the album. I think September, something like that next year.
That's my birthday month.
Hey, cool.
But Tarja, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Everybody, we are here with Tarja. Pick up her newest live record, Act 2, if you haven't already. This is Alex from Heavy New York. We'll see you next time.